this is how we run businesses. We all know it. You know, it's through hierarchy and management processes. It's all kinds of planning and budgeting and how we organize and structure and staff and set up measurements and problem solve. And and you say, well, that's of course. This is an invention. Mostly, if I get too esoteric, just give me a signal, you know, like this. This is an invention of the last century. If you would have told somebody 100 years ago what most of your businesses are doing today, how many customers, where they are, what you manufacture, sell, how you make money, you just spelled out. The average human being in the developed world in the year 1900 could not comprehend what you're talking about. Believe it or not, we have in the last 100 years invented the modern organization, the modern corporation, and it is amazing what it can do. And it runs off of hierarchy and management processes. We take this for granted, just like, you know, food. But the challenge we're facing today, and this is what we first started noticing, looking at data 20 years ago, is the speed of change is moving up. It's being driven, in my judgment, by globalization and technology that have all kinds of side effects, including more and more volatility. And this is wonderful for running a business and improving a business. Not only Kaizen, but little initiatives that kind of take... but this is terrible if you're trying to do something more dramatic to deal with a more dramatic world that's coming at you, with a lot more bullets, coming a lot faster, and a lot more opportunities coming at you a lot faster. And the speed issue, if you haven't looked at the data on that, I mean, product life cycles are shrinking, have been for some time. Technology, the number of patents that go into the U.S. Patent Office, it's not just a linear increase, it's an exponential increase. The amount of data that's going around the world in, you know, this kind of stuff and whatever is doing this. It's just the speed and the amount of change, and this simply doesn't handle that kind of stuff well. And so what you do is you desperately try to make it, and so you set up, you know, cross-functional task forces and initiatives over here, and you give them executive sponsors, and you program manage the stuff to death. And you can get to a certain point, but what we found is when the 5%, they create in a second a whole new operating system that operates in parallel and together with the primary system. And it starts with what we call a guiding coalition, because it's not just a group. It's people, typically we put together 40. I don't know what you've had on yours. That come from all over the place and at different levels. In other words, we kill hierarchy in this thing. You can have a senior person and a very junior person in here. Teach them to work together. Get them some clarity of vision. They work on that. What's the point? I mean, what are we trying to? It comes back again. You got to start with something here to leverage off of, or you're in real trouble. And, okay, what kind of initiatives, strategic initiatives, are going to be able to achieve this? And you start building, in a sense, a solar system that has a very powerful sun and planets and moons and satellites. And this thing becomes a very, and this is a want to. This is not... In this network, which is basically what it is, it's not a hierarchy, and it runs off of basically leadership stuff. It's much more, you know, vision, communication for buy-in, it's empowerment, that kind of stuff. This network is much more flexible, fluid, able to move quickly. You can shut one of these things down in a day. You can start building one of these in a week. The way we do it, I'm not sure if it's the best, is once a year we even, you know, shut this down and put in a new one. New applications have to be filled out, etc. Somebody can go away from this because they're tied up in something. I mean, it's not, it makes this thing look, if this thing can move at 80 miles an hour, all of a sudden you look back here and you say, God, this thing is moving at 40 miles an hour.